A few, and the recent ones are being directed to you, Marcus. What do you think? Do you think this 2:10, 2:11 pace can be maintained? And this is from three 12-year-old lads from Coffs Harbour.
Yeah, I seriously do. I think the surface has got a lot to do with the speed this year. It's going to be hard on brakes. It's going to be hard on cars. And, you know, these safety cars are going to slow things down and allow the cars to, you know, to recover almost. But it's a hot pace this year. There's no two ways about it.
Barry?
Yeah, I'm with Alan Jones. Alan, that's a bit of a heartbreak, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a shame. I think we're up to about 7th spot. Anthony's driving fantastic. And I think it was a more than optimistic move by Simon Wills to try and get 2 cars into that left-hander.
Yeah, it was sad because Anthony was doing 11s.
He was doing a fantastic job, you know, and we were very close to a pit stop. And anyway, that's what happens.
So what's the SP now? Have you spoken to him on the radio?
No, I haven't. I want to guard my gentle ears, I would think.
So can they drag him out of the dirt or what?
No, he's out. He's circulating now. And they finally put the pace car out, so I presume he'll just do a bit of a systems check and he'll be in shortly.
Great, thanks a lot, AJ. Before we go, I've spoken to John Bowes a lot, and they're going to bring John in the next lap and change the lower control arm, because as he went out, the wheels were pointing it off in opposite directions, which makes it quite difficult to drive.
It does, Baz, and you can see the team fussing over. I just don't understand this Perkins team strategy. This is the second time they've done this. Safety car's been called out, and they brought Larry right in at the end of the calling. That puts him right to the back of the queue. They have to fight their way back up to the front again. You've got to be so fast. You've got to be listening to that race call. And as soon as there's even a sniff of a chance of a safety car coming out, the guys who want to roll the dice and take a bit of a gamble, bring them in first, get them out there at the front of the queue.
Another one for you, Marcus, from John Macrochelle from Cinnamon Park in Queensland. Are the rumours true about you being bought by Holden? I think there's a quick and simple answer to that, isn't there?
Definitely, without any doubt, no.
You were born, what did you say, tell me before? When you were born, you had a Ford badge stitched to the back of your nappy?
Almost.
Greg?
Just to update you on that stop involving Larry Perkins and Russell Ingall. Larry's now behind the wheel, but it's an exceptionally long stop, guys. So as if the problem wouldn't have been exacerbated long enough by waiting to such a late stage under the safety car, the stop itself took even longer.
Yeah, that really hurts. You just cannot afford to give that much time away, that much track position away at this level of competition. That's the second time the Castrol Perkins team have pitted right toward the end of the safety car period. When everyone's come in and got out, that puts them right to the back of the queue. There's a lot of work to do here.
Winding round very slowly through the VB Dipper. There is the Aussie Male Falcon, and we will wait and see just how much damage was done there. Cleland is still in the car and he maintains third on the road, but Brad Jones still waiting to get into that vehicle. Greg?
Just down here, Lee, they're waiting patiently for John to come in. They're hoping that he's heard the radio message this time around. Kim Jones is throwing his hands in the air, basically saying, look, I don't know if he's heard it. Hopefully he'll come in this time around. Brad Jones is pretty disappointed at the moment.
Well, I bet they were running so strongly up inside that top 5 toward that the end of that safety car period. And now, if he comes in now, he's just going to be right to the back of the queue.
Marcus, explain how clearly you hear those messages. I mean, the Raw, Mark and I and Billy, we've all been fortunate to go as a passenger ride in a V8 Supercar. How loud is it under race pace? You're concentrating, you're involved in a battle. How clearly can you hear the communication from the pits?
Yeah, really quite well. We run special earplugs that go right into the eardrum, so you can hear it very clearly. But on an endurance race like this, maybe they didn't get the cable hooked in properly, so maybe you can't hear anyone at all. So, you know, these endurance races make it very difficult. There's a lot of noise and things, and he's very busy in the car as well, so anything could go wrong.
If you've just joined us on your home of Motorsport Network 10, we're on lap 62 of 161 of the 2001 V8 Supercar 1000, and it's been a very eventful day. We've had hail. There was snow just 20 minutes away up the road. We've had crashes. We've had lead changes. It has all been happening, and we remain under caution. We are waiting to see if the Aussie Male Falcon comes in. John Cleland has been out there for a little too long. Finally, he comes in, and Brad Jones will get behind the wheel. This is the Shell Helix race score for you at the moment. Stay with us. We're here at the mountain. This is a once-a-year occasion, and it's great.
This is the Aussie Male stop. Bradley Jones waiting for so long to get in behind the wheel after John Cleland was unable to hear or understand the call to come into the pits just a few moments ago. This was how they did it. A lot of frustration there in the camp after a brilliant run, the best the car has been, in fact, you could argue, since this team started in V8 Supercar racing. They've had a few problems getting settled in, not only to the change from 2-litre cars to the V8s, but also getting set up, this car set up. And now things were really starting to go well for them.
Slow stop too. And up to 40 seconds now.
So many different changes in complexion over this race. And we're still to see more drama, I'd imagine.
Oh, there's plenty more to come, Billy. The nature of this race and this place, there's the Caterpillar Ford coming back in after that damage to the front end. I think what they're going to try and do is just try and effect repairs on this car and get him out in front of the pace car each time and try and keep him on the lead lap. It's a big ask, though, because if they're going to change a control arm, it's a pretty major exercise.
Well, this has been an extraordinary race, and this category is just so competitive. The pressure mistakes that we have witnessed today have been unbelievable. The teams, the drivers are really under the pump. Like the Cat team, who enjoyed better times earlier in this race. They got as high as the race lead. John Bowe had an amazing opening stint, but then the mistakes began to happen.
The machinery is really under the pump too. This is very hard on this equipment. As I said, a lot of the safety car periods we had at Bathurst in the past really helped to mask any reliability problems. This year's been harder. Oh no! Car 17! The Shell Helix Ford, smoke pouring from the back of it.
Unbelievable. This is Paul Radicic on board. This was a race, leading car race, challenging for the lead, right up there. It's been up there all day, and this does not look good.
Oh, can you believe it? This car came so close to winning in 1999. They finished second last year, and now a major mechanical failure on top of the hill.
The Paul Radicic, Stephen Johnson car, they had just performed their stop. Radicic is behind the wheel, and that may not even make it to the top. It is crawling.
I think he's had a major engine failure there, Marcus. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. There's something going wrong. He's got a lot of fluid under the water. Oh, yeah, definite engine. Definite engine.
That has just let go. That's going through Hell Corner, just before Hell Corner. The Rat and Steve Johnson have been dealt a very harsh blow. If you've just joined us, we have Marcus Ambrose, the pole sitter for this year's V8 Supercar 1000 with us. Marcus, the emails continue to flood in for you. At last year's Gold Coast Indy, you won a challenge race that was supposed to get you a test with the Pac West car team. I know the team folded. Well, they haven't actually folded. They're still competing with Kiwi Scott Dixon driving. Did the test ever take place?
Yeah, what actually happened was it was an Indy Lights test. It was Doricott. We did the test last year, very successful, but unfortunately you need a lot of dollars to go over there, and I'm dry. Yeah,
Aussie dollars don't go too far these days, Greg.
Well, very disappointed Stephen Johnson down here in pit lane. I know Dick's just told Paul to pull over. What's the latest? What's the story?
Mate, I don't know, Rusty. All I heard was that Paul was smelling some sort of coolant when he was going around the slow laps, and I don't know whether it's dropped the hose and got hot and stopped or what. I don't know, but they did tell him to pull it over because it was obviously getting too hot, or was letting some water or something go from underneath it.
Tell me how you feel right now, given the amount of points that were up for grabs here, the elation of winning the Queensland 500 and your position in the championship.
Well, it obviously makes it very hard to win the championship now, but you know we'll give it our best shot. And you know, I mean, the Shell Helix team's done a fantastic job this weekend, and you know we've struggled, but you know we had a reasonable car. I wouldn't say we had the fastest car in the race, and you know we were trying very hard, and everything was against us, and we were still up in front. But obviously it's just not our day.
Hard luck, Steve. You've got a lot of years ahead of you, and you will do this, no doubt about it.
Mate, I tell you what, after 8 years or 7 years now, and only having one DNF, or now 2, you know, I really can't complain with my record here, but it's all going to make it more nice when we come back and win it next year.
Chin up, Steve.
Thanks, mate.
Johnson and Radicic 4th and 5th, respectively, in the championship. That will almost certainly change at the end of today. Marcus Ambrose, you know how that feels.
Yeah, it's, you know, I feel shattered sitting here right now, but all in all, it hasn't been a terrible weekend. You know, we had plenty of car speed, and you know, we'll come back bigger and better next year. You know, it's such a tough race. You know, we've been here since Monday, and it's just been building up to this Sunday race, and when it all goes wrong, it feels like the world's stopped.
I think you've really surprised a lot of people, though. I know when you came into the series this year, you were a virtual unknown, certainly in touring car racing, and you've just stood the scene on its ear, so we can expect a lot of big results from in the years to come, I think.
Yeah, like I'm really, you know, gunning for a championship, and next year we'll be so much stronger than what we have been this year, just on experience. So you never know what's around the corner. I've got a great bunch of guys there. Stone Brothers Racing are the best guys I've ever worked with. And I'm just really happy where I am, and I can't wait for the future.
The rain begins to fall on the mountain as we thank Marcus Ambrose, and we wish you the best for the remaining 2 rounds. Marcus, thanks for being up here at a difficult time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's a shame I'm up here, really.
Thanks
so,
for joining
see
us.
you next year.
Good on you, mate.
Good luck, Marcus Ambrose. We know he'll be a factor next year, and in fact, the Ford fans will be absolutely delighted with seeing Ambrose and Lowndes joining the frontline battle. They'll be championship contenders, no doubt, as we take a look at the Ford banner competition. Daylight saving, actually, beg your pardon, Eastern Standard Time, not daylight saving just yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. The Cat Racing team, certainly not ahead of itself at the moment. This has been a real battle after that coming together with Anthony Tratt. Now, they've been, for the second time, back into the pits to try and fix the steering arm. The other factor relating to Stephen Johnson, it's ironic that Stephen's out of this race and possibly out of the championship after this weekend. We won't jump the gun with that, but it's a big blow to his chances, and yet it's been his consistency and performance in these endurance races that's put him in that championship winning position going into this round.
We saw the frustration earlier with the Jones car. Brad Jones, John Clelland. Brad Jones was very impatient in the pits, and rightly so. He dropped from 4th to 12th, courtesy of John Clelland staying out a little too long and coming in at the wrong time. John Bowe is finally away again after a lengthy stop, but fortunately for the Cat Ford team, it has been under a yellow caution period. What a dynamic start to the day for these guys, the veteran and the youngster, but it has gone wrong along the way. Are the lights out on the pace car? We will wait and see. Certainly no, they're still going. A little difficult to see, so we will do another caution lap. The order as it stands at the moment is Stephen Richards, Greg Murphy, Mark Scaife, Greg Ritter in the sole remaining Shell Helix Ford. Up there in 4th position from Stephen Ellery. That's an outstanding job. He did a great stint, and Jeff Brabham did a very solid second stint. Tandem, Azira, Lowndes in the top 10. Crompton did what he was asked to do. Ingle and Mark Larkham rounds out the top 10. He and Wayne Gardner, they just keep on soldiering on. And at the Queensland 500, they put in very strong lap times towards the end of the race. So watch out for Larko and WG, the former 500cc world champion. The updated race score from Shell Helix on your screen right now. It's time to take another short break, but we'll return to the mountain real soon.
There are 12 cars on the lead lap, even though we're watching a queue right now after the resumption. Brad Jones in position 12, desperately getting back onto the end of that first lap queue after a very poorly timed pit stop. But nevertheless, they're making the most of a good situation, and a lot of race still to come. Lap 67 of 161.
Pleasing to see the sun shining across the top, and there is the combination of Kelly and Murphy. Boy, have they been strong today. Greg currently sits in 2nd position, making his way past the Craig Harris Falcon, and coming in behind the Paul Wheel Tim Lay combination. The wind is still very strong here at Mount Panorama, and it has been all day. We are back under green.
Yeah, just look at this Stephen Richards situation. He's been out there now for 37 laps. He hasn't come in for his second stop, and he hasn't made his compulsory pad change. So somewhere along the line, the number 5 car is going to have to peel off out of his order. I thought they might have been hanging around out there for a while when there was the threat of rain. They could have got to come in and made a tyre stop when everyone else had to come in and change over to wets, but it looks like the weather's not going to help them here.
Well, expect to see him soon, because we get word that Glenn Seaton is standing by in the pits, and the FTR squad has got 4 fresh tyres standing by for Stephen Richards, who has been the race leader for some time. Murphy is 2nd, Scaife is 3rd behind the wheel of the number 1 machine, and Greg Ritter, here we go. Richards, the race leader, peels off. It's pit stop time, and Seaton is standing by.
So you don't want to be, I don't understand this. I don't know why they've come in under safety car period, because now they're going to dump a stack of time. They're going to do their pad change under full green. This is really not going to work with this team. This is going to hurt them a lot.
You have to say the race is playing into the hands of the defending and current points leader, Mark Scaife. The number 1 Holden Racing Team car is performing brilliantly. The second one is further back in 7th position.
What about Greg Murphy and Tom Kelly, though? They're right up there too. Keep an eye on that Kmart Commodore. There's a lot of quality cars there. The 2nd Shell Ford, driven by Greg Ritter and Cameron McLean's, well in contention as well. They didn't do the pad change there. So the pad change still to come for car 5. Oh, this is going to be expensive.
Just blades where he changes his hands by chance, so every time.
Yeah, it certainly does. Well, we've just had word that there is a stop-go penalty for car 10. That is the Gardner-Larkham car. We can only suspect that it's for speeding in pit lane. They were placed 12th when handed that penalty. This is the race-leading car, Greg Murphy, 2 times a winner here at the Mountain, and he won the last time with the guy who was just peeled off and handed over to Glenn Seaton, Stephen Richards. He's won with Lowndes and Richards. Where is Lowndes, speaking of?
Back in 8th place.
Yep.
So here's the race lead. It's been on between these two Commodores. They've been very much the pace here. Certainly the Caterpillar Ford was blindingly fast before that one out. Now it's a battle between these two WR Australia-owned teams, Holden Racing Team and Kmart Racing. They're based within a stone's throw of each other in the big industrial estate in Melbourne. And even though they share the same equipment, the basic equipment, they're very different teams in terms of structure and strategy.
Just had a word to Steve Tabaldi from Mark Larkham's team. He tells me that they're going to try and keep Wayne Gardner out there as long as they possibly can before they bring him in for that stop-go. What has happened? A wheel nut has come off the car during the course of the stop and rolled into another team's pit bay. The pit lane infringement costing them a stop-go penalty.
Now look at this. Paul Wheel is fighting for survival here. He's running at a very, very good pace, but if Greg Murphy goes by, that's another lap gone. And, well, you can only say, where would Paul Wheel be if Tim Lay didn't get punted off by the Haviland Ford?
Just checking our lap charts here, Paul Wheel is on the lead lap, so if he gets overtaken by these two, he will officially go a lap down, so he's desperately fighting to stay on the lead lap.
Down a lap.
We ride with the Kmart Commodore, Greg Murphy. He made a blinding opening stint earlier today. The onboard telemetry courtesy of Dunlop. And let's take a listen as we ride across the top of the mountain with the Murph.
Look at the road speed on the left-hand side of the screen. 200 kilometres an hour. Can you believe that?
There's a lot to play for this weekend with Greg Murphy. He's currently 6th in the championship points, and the two drivers in front of him, Johnson and Radisich, are out of this race. Just repeating, if you've just joined us, Stephen Johnson and Paul Radisich have retired from the race with a blown engine, we believe, and Murphy, the race leader, is 6th in the championship points and stands to gain the most.
Mark Larkham comes in to serve his stop-go penalty for that pit lane infringement. 40 kilometres an hour along pit lane.
Down here with Wayne Gardner, you've been watching Mark come in for the stop-go, and you're a little disappointed at the moment.
Oh, and frustrated too. You know, this race is pretty hard on everybody and the machinery, and Yeah, there was a bit of a mishap. One of them, the tyre changes dropped the wheel over the line, so that's obviously cost us in the wheel change and the driver stop. So that's obviously cost us a 10-second penalty. Besides, we've got an engine problem as well. We're running on about 6 cylinders out there. It happened in my stint. And we're just trying to hang in there if they can try and work out what the problem is, whether it's an electronic problem or a fuel problem. It's something to do with fuel, because I keep switching the pumps, you know, to reserve and main all the time, and it jumps to life, then it goes back to the same problem. So it's a case of just hanging in there and, you know, I don't know, see what happens. Let's try and survive the race.
Just doing the sums there before. Until that stop-go, you were one of the last cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, no, at least we're on the lead lap, but I'm not so sure what the 10-second penalty is going to do to us. But, you know, we're trying to rectify the engine and trying to stay on the lead lap. Well, we can do that. We're away again. You know, I actually think we're in with a chance. The car's working pretty good. But, as I said, we're going to try and fix it as the day goes on. Who knows? Chin up, Chief. Thank you.
Who's currently competing in the All Japan GT Championship, driving for Toyota, and he scored a win this year earlier at the Sugo circuit, which was his second career victory in that category, and he's got 2 rounds to go, so he returns to Japan for more, but was very keen to compete here on the mountain and did a deal with AC Delco and Mark Larkham, and that's why you see the former world motorcycle champion here. The big Kev racer continues, but he's in threat because here comes the race leader, and look at Mark Scaife really applying the pressure. The Ritter McLean car doing a tremendous job in 3rd on the road, and that's an outstanding performance by 2, well, not lesser known, but not necessarily big name drivers. Greg Ritter, Cameron McLean have done an outstanding job. 3rd on the road and powering after these two. It's an all-Holden battle up front.
So good to see those 2 young guys. Greg Ritter, the 1999 Formula 4 champion, being given a run by Dick Johnson Racing, and Dick Johnson's just got such big raps on this guy. He's only 28, and he's done such a brilliant job in both drives for DJR. The Queensland 500 kept a very cool head in the top 15 shootout yesterday, and the speed of both himself and Cameron McLean really has kept that car in contention. It's the sole surviving Shell Helix Ford, and it's just in behind these two, just about 2.2 seconds behind. It's been sitting there for a number of laps. Stephen Ellery too, great job in the Super Cheap Autos car. Yeah. That's one to keep an eye on, because there's a very experienced driving crew, very experienced mechanical team, and that car is just getting stronger and stronger as the race goes on. Look where it is, only 5 seconds behind our race leader. Tander and Bargwana well placed in 5th. Lowndes and Crompton just moving up the order in 6th. Brighton Mazura in 7th. Ingle and Perkins in 8th.
If you've got any emails for Jason Bargwana, send them in now. Bargs joins us in the commentary box right after this brief break.